I was listening to the voices of life, chanting in unison. Carry on the struggle. The generations surge together in resistance to meet the reality of power. Mother Earth embraces her children.
Would you know about any issues that may arise with this easement? Any kind of specifications that were formally introduced in this easement? Would you know anything about that?
As far as we know, the easement entails the entire 15 acres of land. The two federally recognized tribes that signed the agreement with the City of Vallejo and GVRD, the Greater Vallejo Recreation District, has total say over any archaeological or finds that are happened here on the land. So that means that what we were pushing for was no bathrooms, no parking lot, and no grading of the hill. And what's going to happen is that there's not going to be any bathrooms. They're going to move a 15-space parking lot down to 2 handicapped parking spaces only, and they're not going to put it on top of our ancestors' burial sites. So that's a good thing. The only thing that we are a little concerned about is the grading of the hill, because we know that there's probably our ancestors there. The people that are from the tribes will be surrounding the bulldozers as they start work, and as soon as the ancestors reveal themselves, all work will stop. Oh, yeah. And so that was one of the things that had to happen. But people have said that there is that they're afraid that the grading is going to happen. But what I continue to say is that while we have been in prayer not only for the last 108 days, yes, but also for the last 12 years about this particular site, that our ancestors have continued to help us, and they'll help us in that way and show themselves so that our work will be complete here.
Another question
How
is,
do you put this in the larger framework of struggles of all Indigenous peoples fighting removal? Do you have any comments on that?
I think that this is a battle that we've won and a war that we're continuing to fight. That this particular win sets precedence, because there's not been any tribal people that have a cultural easement within city boundaries or with the city park district. And so this win is huge, not only for us and for those tribes, but for all Native people that are looking to protect and preserve their sites. And we know that while we've been here for the last 108 days, there have been hundreds of people that are working on protecting their sacred sites as well, watching to see what the outcome was. And so this is a victory for all of us, because people will be able to use this in a way to continue to fight in a different kind of a manner.
Just to go back really quickly, because of course you were one of the warriors in the Presidio and all of these fights in Emeryville. Is it possible that we could go backwards and start to rethink some of those?
Well, Emeryville was like one of the things that really tore my heart apart. And it was the biggest shell mound in the Bay Area, of over 425, and it now has a mall on top of it. The only way we could go back is if we dismantled that mall, and I don't know that that's going to happen. But of the 425, only a handful remain that's in open space, and Sogorea is one of those places that we are able to come here and offer our prayers on the land, like our original teachings instructed us to do. And so, from going forward from this, I think that, we now have a voice that the American public now needs to hear, and will take us seriously, and it won't take us 12 years to get to the place that we got to.
I have Tiny from Poor Magazine. Hey. And Motiado, Philip standing there.
All right, good to meet you.
So we are actually looking at removals of Indigenous peoples off of many different places and trying to connect the data, because we're an Indigenous people run. Taino, Philip comes from Jota, and we're South Mexico. Purepecha. So we're coming from different spaces, but trying to connect the dot of Indigenous peoples removal. And I know that there's a struggle y'all are dealing with in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I would just love to have you speak on that, if you're willing. And it only goes through Indigenous Peoples Media Project and Poor Magazine. So this is not corporate. This is just poor people led.
We could totally definitely talk about that. My sister and I, though, maybe we could talk about, well, we're part of a Pacific Islander Social Justice. We're part of two organizations, actually. Firstly, we're part of a Pacific Islander Social Justice organization that came here last weekend and presented some gifts. We wanted to stand in solidarity with the indigenous people of this land. Our group was OCNC, Oceania Coalition of Northern California. One of the issues that we actually worked with wonderful folks, Native American folks, on was the Free project.
Which is Easter Island.
Yeah, which is Easter Island from Chile.
Yeah, we had a demonstration back in March. We went to the Chilean embassy and we petitioned them to let them know about the human rights violations. There's a disconnect there with the government and of course the indigenous people of Easter Island, which are Rapa Nui, the indigenous people. And the Chilean government, they've been having human rights violations of people who are trying to do things like this here in Sogorea, occupying the land that's rightly theirs, their ancestral land, because the people, the indigenous people in Rapa Nui, they do not have any rights with what to do with the land. They don't have any rights with the airlines that come in for tourism. They have no say in that, and that the airline is privately owned by the government of Chile, and they have no rights and say about what happens with the monies that Chile makes, and Chile makes a really big profit out of that. We know with them coming to look at the moai, which are those huge structures that Easter Island is known for, and so those indigenous structures. So that's what we were fighting for with OCNC in support of the indigenous people in Rapa Nui, because they're Pacific Islander like us too.
Of course.
But I think though, and one of the things that was really important for our group was that we came together, right? First and foremost, it was a Pan-Pacific movement that included Hawaiians, Native Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoris. We brought in our brothers and sisters, also from Guam, the Chamorros. Also, Loa and I were Tongan American, also our Samoan brothers and sisters as well. So because this issue for us is also rooted within our own present histories here in the U.S. For most of us, a lot of our communities were also one of the fastest growing incarceration rates here in the United States. That's really important to know. Many of us also come to the U.S. through religions and also militarization.
There's always been a struggle for indigenous people, and we continue to struggle today. We have been relocated many, many times. Now they're trying to relocate our ancestors from Mother Earth. And we must put a stop to it. They have took our land through false treaties, but now they want to take the last remaining sacred things that mean spirit to indigenous people of this country, our sacred sites and sacred burial grounds of our ancestors. And it comes a time where indigenous people must stand up and come together and follow the spirit of our ancestors to protect these sacred sites and burial grounds. There will be no more of these sacred sites and burial grounds as long as we continue to fight amongst ourselves. We must come together as our ancestors are praying for us to come together as one to fight these evil people who are trying to destroy our culture and our religion and our spiritual ways. That's why these sacred sites are very important to our indigenous people across this country. We must stand up and say, no more. Protect these sacred sites and fight for whatever we believe in as indigenous people. Because one day they're going to come after, these reservations and rancherías. And what are we going to do? We're going to stand back and let them take them. We have to stand and fight for what we believe in as indigenous people.
Vamos a soportar los indios aquí porque ellos, los huicholes, también están luchando a salvar su cultura en México y se identifican lo que pasa aquí.
¿Tú puedes decir qué es lo que están planeando ahí en Jalisco o en la región de los huicholes?
En Jalisco, primero el gobierno mexicano quería poner un camino por ahí y ellos lo pararon. Todo el pueblo se paró delante de los bulldozers y se lo pararon y ahora van a poner camino por otro lugar. Y ahora en el desierto, en Wirikuta, este desierto sagrado donde crece la medicina, el peyote, el gobierno de México lo dio a una compañía de mining de Canadá y quieren ahí destruir todo y están tratando de parar eso.
Muchas gracias, compañero.
Gracias.